You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth's it doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Howdy, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, folks. We are back, and we are going back to the 11th Doctor era. God, I can't believe how many years ago this already was.
I know. I feel so old.
I know. This is 2010. And so this is 15 years old. And it literally feels like yesterday that we watched it. We are looking at Amy's Choice. And it's the 11th Doctor's first season. And we have companions, of course, of Amy Pond and Rory. Should we just call him Rory Pond already?
Of course, that's who he is.
Of course. And so it's going to be a fun one to talk all about tonight. And definitely we got some Doctor Who news to talk about. We've got some convention stuff that's going to be happening real soon. And we also just, we've got a Geek Seat segment. So, or as we call it, the Whovian Geek Seat. So, I think we might have to come up with a better name for that and everything. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But, it's going to be a ton of fun. And as of this recording date, it's the 18th of March. We're less than a month now, folks, till new Doctor Who. And we are real excited about it. And I hope you guys at home are too. And we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Feedback at Earth Station Who is the best way to get in touch with us. And if you get a chance, please like and subscribe. That would be really appreciated of us. Let's say hey to our co-hosts for this week. Of course, back from a grand trip up north, Mr. Michael Gordon.
Howdy.
And Ms. Melanie Dean is back with us.
Hello, fellow Whovians.
2 weeks in a row. This is pretty, amazing.
I'll give it time.
I know.
Before I get banished.
Trust me, I already know what's coming up for you. So, you got some great stuff going. So I'm sure you're on pins and needles.
Yep.
Of course. And last but never least, Ms. Mary Ogle.
Hey, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
It's definitely fun to have the gang back together, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this episode. Let's jump in with the news, and the worst part of the news is when we lose a member of the Doctor Who family. And I'm sad to say we lost Simon Fisher Becker, who, was very well known during the Matt Smith era of Doctor Who. And so we saw him, of course, it's really sad. He played Dorium, the blue-skinned guy who actually lost his head, sadly enough.
Yeah.
But appeared in the third episode after that. So
that was not the end of him.
That did not stop him. Nope. And he asked the eternal question, Doctor Who? Doctor Who? So it was fun. And I know he was in a ton of other stuff, but I mostly knew him as Dorium. So
a lot of people, of course, knew him from the Harry Potter movies where he played the Fat Friar.
That's true.
So that was a pretty big deal for him as well. And I think that I think he's credited though Doctor Who with getting him more work. So because he was around for a while, but he always seemed like I never saw him at a convention or what. I think he did appear in the States at a few shows. Apparently he did that
Gallifrey and such.
He did quite a number of shows in the UK, of course, and from what I understand was very well. Those were very well attended, and he had a great rapport with the fans. He wrote a few books about his adventures with behind the scenes of Doctor Who. So those are kind of cool. And I didn't realize this, but in 2009, he actually got attacked at a gas station, which sidelined him. And I think I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I don't think. Yeah, I think it was pretty brutal, and so I think he suffered from some health issues since that too.
Well, he
So
was relatively young when he passed. He was only 63.
yeah,
As we're getting up there in age now,
I know, right? That doesn't seem so old, does
Rapidly
it?
approaching.
No, it was sudden. It was trying to think what he did not discuss publicly. No, yeah, no, it was definitely sudden. But yeah, the that little attack and he was very much someone that would speak on bullying and what have you at his panels. As Mike said, he had 4 books. He did My Dalek Has a Puncture, My Dalek Has a Puncture, My Dalek Has Another Puncture. I can't remember the third one, but it's something similar again. And
It's
then
Let Zygons Be Zygons.
Let Zygons Be Zygons. And then he just came out with Vlogging a Dead Horse. So he was very active on podcasts. He was recently also in the No Name trivia show with that's Australian based with Bolte and Joe. But yeah, no, even the day he passed on March 10th, he had just uploaded because he was always still somebody wanted to keep working. He always did like little segments, and he recorded a segment that morning. So that's
oh wow,
yeah, and he was very very much about trivia and was such a brilliant comedic and genuinely kind. And I'm going to stop now because I'll start crying.
Okay.
He's going to be missed.
He will be missed.
Definitely, yeah. Heart goes out to his husband and all his other friends and fans.
Very much so. Very, very much so. And the wonderful thing about it is his work is out there, folks. You could definitely check it out. And I think that's the best thing you could do for his memory is to watch his stuff and hope it brings you good, memories and everything. And, and it's funny because one of the scenes I do remember most about him is when he met with River Song, and that's how she got the vortex manipulator.
Yeah.
And,
Yes,
he
that's
got it
great.
off the wrist of a young time agent, and everyone's like, oh, that's got to be Jack. It's got to be Jack. So it was actually pretty cool. And, God rest, Simon. We'll miss you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Mike, you actually went to Mecca for Doctor Who fans in North America.
I did. I just spent a weekend last weekend in Indiana, and lots of cool geeky stuff happening. If you are a nerd of any kind, a geek of any kind, Indiana actually has some hot spots. I went to the Indiana Comic-Con, which happened over the weekend. I spent a day doing that, and that was a lot of fun. Also went to the Batman Museum just outside of Indiana, in Indianapolis, and that was a lot of fun too. And I went to Canby, Indiana, which is just outside of Indianapolis as well, about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. I wasn't driving, so. But
Everything was 20 minutes there.
I visited the Who North America store in Canby, Indiana, and it is incredible. It is a warehouse kind of, but it's deceptive on the outside. It looks much bigger on the inside, believe it or not. You walk in, you're like, whoa, and it is quite the sight. It's got when you walk in, there's a Dalek that greets you and insists that you buy something or you will be exterminated. And big TARDIS. And then on the right side of the store, as you walk in, there is a huge collection of all vintage Doctor Who memorabilia, starting from the 1960s going to present, in glass cases, and just so much to look at there. So many fun stuff to see. And then on the left side is the actual store. And believe it or not, I think there's even more items on that side. And they've got everything from figures to books to Big Finish audios to whatever, clothing. T-shirts, scarves, hats, like anything that you could possibly want from that has a Doctor Who label on it, they have, and it's pretty overwhelming. They do a lot of shipping. So if you go to whona.com, you can click on their store and support them that way. But if you're in the Indianapolis area, I mean, you owe it to yourself if you're a Who fan to go check it out. The people were really nice. They've got a Doctor Who pinball machine that I think is free. I don't think it needs any coins or anything. So
I love that pinball machine. It's so fun to play.
So we were having some fun with that. They have a viewing room. And I believe that when there's new episodes, they actually have people come over. You can come over and watch the new episodes in this viewing room. But it's constantly playing Doctor Who stories. They say they don't do a lot of shows anymore. They usually were at the Indiana Comic-Con, but they've stopped doing that for reasons, I guess. Yeah, they said that they get a lot of people that come in and look around and are just amazed that it's here. But I guess it has to be somewhere. So it's an impressive store. It really is.
I remember that they did have a table set up at when Mary and I went to Gallifrey.
Gotcha.
They had a set up, and it was like, I looked at Mary and said, "Road trip to Indiana?" She's like, "No." No.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I pack light for my trip, so I didn't really want to come back with it. I couldn't come back with anything too bulky. So the only thing I purchased from them was a collection of Sarah Jane Smith stories. Jane Smith, roving reporter.
Very cool.
That's got a forward from Elizabeth's daughter. So I look forward to reading this because they have a ton of like books that you are hard to get. And obviously, if you're in the area and you want to save on shipping, just go load up on stuff. So next time I'm in town, I will be more prepared. Maybe bring a empty suitcase that I can just fill with stuff. So. But yeah, I would definitely encourage people to check it out. It's like I said, whona.com is the website, and they were great. And they mentioned we talked about the podcast, left some promo cards there. So if anybody picked up a promo card and is listening to us for the first time because they checked us out and discovered us at Who North America, howdy.
Thank you. Yep. And definitely we'll have a link to it up in our show notes also. So please, we'll definitely, check it out. Thank you, Mikey. I'm glad you had a good time.
The
pictures were awesome. The pictures were amazing. So very cool. Well, I guess we're going to have to go on to the review now because I don't want to go into the geek seat.
What?
Yeah.
No.
How dare.
Nice try.
No, come on. Don't we want to talk about Amy's Choice? We got a really good.
After the geek
Yeah, after the geek seat, we sure do.
Dun, dun, dun. I think they've spoken, Mike. I think you're overruled.
Okay. All right. It's my turn to take
we'll strap you down.
Oh, God. It's been a long time since I've been strapped down.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
With consent.
Exactly. Well, married for 22 years almost, it's been a long time.
They're not they're not those kind of straps. Nope. Nope. Not going.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. That's fantasize in your own time.
Thank you again for those who just tuned in by looking at those little cards for Who North America. I promise it gets better.
Friendly on the show.
Yeah. No, well, actually, this is kind of par for the course. So.
Yeah, this is
exactly.
This is us.
And if you're just listening to it for the first time, because I know eventually we'll get around to it, if you're a Chibnall fan, we do apologize in advance. Okay, so now, as far as the geek seat, the Whovian geek seat questions goes, Mike, are you ready for your first question?
I am ready. Throw it at me.
All right. Who was your first Doctor?
My first Doctor was Tom. Tom Baker was my first Doctor. I actually discovered him by accident. I was flipping channels. I was like 8 years old. And so this is like 77, 78.
And what market are you in?
I was living outside of Washington, D.C., but we had cable, and if we turned the cable box and played with it a little bit, we were able to get WOR from New York, and they were actually showing the pyramids of Mars.
Mm.
And so that was my very first episode, and I was like, "Oh, this looks cool." This guy with the dog face, and the mummies with the big chests and everything. And I was just hooked from there. But for some reason, I didn't come back to it for a couple months, and I decided to try to check it out again on Saturday afternoon, and they were showing the Talons of Wei Chang, and from that point on, I was a Whovian.
Nice. So that being said, which Doctor would you want to travel with?
Oh, has to be Patrick Troughton's Doctor, the second Doctor.
Ah.
It would. Patrick always, was always very whimsical, but he could turn dark very, very quickly. Kind of like Matt Smith in this episode we're going to be talking about tonight. And so it was very interesting to do. And I liked his relationship with the companions. And, from going with, Jamie and then Victoria and then Zoe, of course. And, you never knew where they were going to end up. And you didn't know, the Doctor at the point didn't really know how to land the TARDIS. So half the time it was landing upside down or sideways or, on the side of a cliff. It was just always fun. And I think that would be a great adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that, when you mentioned Patrick Darkness, I was like, really? And then I remember, I always point to Enemy of the World, and I'm like, yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What Doctor would you not want to travel with?
Oh, that's easy. Colin Baker.
That's what everybody says.
I think that's. I will be so surprised if someone ever answers something different.
First I need to wear sunglasses the whole time from that garish outfit he had, and then couldn't turn my back on him because I wouldn't want to get strangled. Truthfully, you don't know any, the Doctor does have a history also trying to hit people with rocks over the head. So,
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
The handwriting was on the wall from the very beginning.
But yeah, not that I blame him from trying to strangle Perry, but I don't, but I still wouldn't want to travel with Colin. And Colin is a very nice gentleman. I've met him multiple times, and he is one of the most pleasant people to hang out with. Even, we've done dinner with him and such. So it's kind of cool. So.
Gotcha. So dinner with Colin is great. Traveling, not so much. Okay.
Not so much.
Got that. Got that down. What geeks you out the most about Doctor Who?
I love Doctor Who because it's a very positive show. It gives a very positive impression, and it gives you hope instead of, let's go in guns a-blazing. The Doctor always comes in, hey, I'm going to give you guys a chance. I can take you wherever you want. You can, I won't, if you guys leave peacefully, you guys could go and everything. And, 90% of the time they don't. And, then the Doctor has to destroy them or, make sure that they're sorry or something. So, and that's one of the things I fell in love with, and just the camp of it also. It's, and that's one of the things I've always loved about it. And I'm glad I came to the Doctor Who era, in this Fourth Doctor era in the old series, because it was campy as hell at the time. And it made it something special, and I put up with the ridicule at school and, such, being a Doctor Who fan, and at the time thinking I was the only Whovian. So, it was pretty cool.
What turns you geek off about Doctor Who?
Fandom. Can't stand the fandom. The toxic. And, it's like, I feel like it's almost every frippin' day when I'm going through on Facebook saying Doctor Who's canceled, or Chudy sucks, or Jodie sucks, or Capaldi sucks, or all of them,
Or Chibnall sucks. Oops.
Exactly.
No, that was okay.
That's okay. We still got to bring in the bells, folks. But yeah, fandom has gotten so frippin' toxic. There have been times I've just wanted to walk away from all fandom completely, and just say screw it. And but my love for the show isn't letting me. It's my constant fandom out there, even more than comics, even more than Funkos, even more than anything. It's Doctor Who is my fandom.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things about this podcast in particular, and what keeps me, obviously I love Doctor Who and I love talking about Doctor Who, but the fact that we can bring that positivity into the fandom in our own way, I think it makes me so proud of this podcast in particular, because we are not part of the noise, so
no, we try to rise above it. And that's one of the things like you just said, that I pride myself in. And we even talked about that at the panel we did at Pensacon about, that we try to rise above it and not fall into the crap and, the trolls, as we like to call them. And we don't put up with that crap. And, and it's like, we're not going to post shit on, sorry for new users, but, but, I know. But, we don't put up with that in the Facebook group. We've kicked people out for posting fake stories or, troll stuff. And, go to any of the zillion other Facebook groups if you want to post that. And you're going to have a zillion people going, hey, yeah, that's awesome. Keep going. We don't do that, and that's why we like what we do. And that's why we're going to keep on doing what we do and everything.
Awesome. Which Doctor Who companion would you like to meet the most?
Oh, well, there's a lot. Layla.
It can be one you've already met.
Oh. Well, no, I would want to meet Frasier. Jamie, and Jamie's always been, ever since I started seeing the second Doctor era, he has always been my favorite companion, because he is from, the 17th century, and he basically is, when he gets thrown something new, he's like, okay, it's a flying thing. Oh, it's a green scaly monster. Oh, it's, metal people coming towards me. He just goes with the flow and everything. And he's okay with it. And he's just so cool. And, and then also I'd want to meet Ace, because, she blows things up. And there's plenty of times I love blowing things up. So.
All right. The flip side of that is, what Doctor Who villain, I'm going to emphasize villain here, would you like to meet the least? I say villain because Rose does not count.
Well, it all depends on your point of view, doesn't it?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Every hero is a hero until they become the villain. I'm looking at you. No, has to be the Master. The Daleks just find a staircase, I'll be fine. And, but basically the Master, I don't want to, be an action figure. I don't, we already have Mike Gordon and Mike Faber pop figures,
Exactly. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's close enough. We don't need to have, we don't have to have, real life and, just being shrunk down. That just does not feel or look like it would be any fun at all. No. And so, yeah, I definitely think, the Master. And because the Master's so BS crazy that, and I watched myself on that one. I did plan on that. So, thank you, Melly. Yeah. So it's, it's a good thing. And the Master is, just so maniacal and just so outlandish most of the time. You just never know what's going to come out of his mouth or her mouth. So it's,
That's totally reasonable. I get it.
Mhm.
What was your favorite Doctor Who geek out moment?
My favorite Doctor Who geek out moment when I was a kid was seeing the fourth Doctor regenerate into the fifth Doctor, because it was my first regeneration, and to see that happen. But new series, my oh crap moment was at the end of Army of Ghosts, when the giant orb was floating there and you thought it had something to do with the Cybermen, and out popped the Daleks. That was just like, oh my God, things just got real, And so, yeah, that was my geek out, my most geek out moment. And, the other one, of course, was the 50th anniversary special, when they went, there's 12 of them. No, 13.
That was a great moment.
The eyebrows for the first time. And that was just like, because it was the first time ever on Doctor Who you got a future Doctor, a true future Doctor appearing, before he was introduced, which was really awesome.
Absolutely. And the flip side of that, of course, what was your most disappointing Doctor Who geek out moment?
That Rose survived at the end of.
I knew it was going to be Rose. I knew this was the opportunity.
I had to. It was just floating there.
Yeah, that's true. Your geek seat.
Yeah. No, that's actually not it. My most disappointing actually was how quickly they wrapped up the whole Silence Will Fall and the whole, thing with the church and such in the end of the Matt Smith era, because they couldn't carry it over into the Capaldi era. And I think it caught Moffat off guard, and with Matt leaving, and I think he had a whole nother season planned with these stories, and I just think they just had to wrap it up into one story, and that whole Christmas Town thing was lame as hell.
All right, so your final question.
I'm ready for it. I am ready for it.
What or who would you like to see on Doctor Who?
Oh, other than myself? I would like to see. I would love to see the Doctor go finally, they did in the comics. I would love to see a Star Trek and Doctor Who team up. I think that would be awesome. And it would be really cool to do, a shooty with Strange New Worlds. I think would be pretty frippin' awesome. I think it could, be pretty cool to do. And, it's two of my favorite franchises. So, I think it has the possibility, and I think out of everything, I think those are the two that probably could work the most together. So I think, people have said, oh, what about Stargate or Battlestar Galactica? No. I think Star Trek. Totally.
Well, they had the museum tour of the costumes and everything, saying about friendship.
Exactly.
I remember seeing.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yeah, that was pretty recent.
Yeah.
So that's completely plausible.
Didn't they interact in a video game?
I think they did, actually. Yeah, they did at one point. For
sort of game, app or something.
One of the mobile apps, they had a Star Trek and Doctor Who crossover. So I definitely think that would be a great thing. But to see it on TV, I would just be a happy boy. So,
Yeah, never say never.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for now, you have made it through the Whovian Geek Seat. You have won nothing. You get nothing.
Okay.
Sorry, that's a Willy Wonka reference. So.
I've been hosting this show for 375 episodes. I'm used to the nothing, so it's that was awesome, guys. Thank you. And I didn't even have to bring up Star Wars on Ice, which is even better. That's perfect. So awesome, guys. Thank you guys for putting me up. Now, please untie me after we get out of this break, please.
No, that's not gonna happen. Nope.
Ah, damn.
No.
Okay, Mike, take us to break.
That would be Mary's choice.
Sorry.
I choose no.
All right. I guess we'll be back and talk about Amy's choice.
Yes, hello. Let's talk about the Flopcast,
Every week, we give podcast listeners a chance to come and join us in Chickentown.
where we talk about Saturday morning cartoons, comics and science fiction conventions, music and concert reports, 70s and 80s pop culture, and for no good reason, chickens.
Boy, we're weird.
Oh, we are ridiculous.
We're proud members of the ESO Network, and you can find us at flopcast.net.
Welcome back. Thank God I had a little knife in my pocket, so I was able to untie myself. So I was able to get out of the geek seat. And we are talking all about Amy's Choice. We are going back to May 15th, 2010, featuring Matt Smith as the Doctor, Karen Gillan as Amy Pond, and Arthur Darvill as Rory Williams. We got introduced to the Dream Lord, played by Toby Jones, who's always great in whatever he does.
So good. So good.
He was awesome.
Yeah, it was just awesome. And, this is an episode that actually had me questioning what was real and which one was the dream. And I really enjoyed that. And we'll get all into this, but let's get initial thoughts from everybody, what they thought about this one. Let's start with Mr. Mike.
Yeah, I haven't revisited this one. Probably since it originally aired. It's not one that a lot of people talk about. That's got no connection to everything else that was going on that season. I mean, there's nothing about the crack or anything mythological happening here. I mean, there's a couple of things that happen here, but nothing that really is referenced again. So it's really kind of more of a standalone during this time, which is rare. Especially for a Moffat episode. But although he didn't write it, I think he passed it on to
Simon Nye.
Simon Nye, right? Yeah. Yep. And this was his first foray into writing Doctor Who. I think he was more of a comedy writer, if I'm not mistaken. But look, I like seeing Matt and Amy and Rory. When it's this early, I think just a while ago, a few months ago, we took another look at Vampires in Venice. This happens right after that. It's that early stage where it's like it's sort of Amy has to choose between the two, and it's that's not fun. It's really, as far as I'm concerned, I like it. Sort of post this when they kind of get away from that nonsense. Although it kind of always does hang over the series during this time, because I don't think they definitively end it here, but it is kind of nice to be addressed, in some ways. Although I don't really love the episodes that are about Amy and Rory, in their relationship so much as I do about them experiencing, different things and wonders of the universe. So, I think the way it ends too, it's kind of one of those things where it's maybe not the best ending, especially when you find out, who the Dream Lord is, but, it works. As while I was watching it, I wasn't bored. I thought it was fun. Matt is just on fire. He's always fun to watch. And Amy and Rory and Amy, pregnant Amy is so fun. I would love a season. I'm like, why didn't we get a season of pregnant Amy? Because she is a blast.
Well, we kind of did.
Well,
we
you
just didn't
technically
know
did,
it.
Mike. You did.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not really. Not really. Like not like this.
But you also got Rory with a ponytail too, which was pretty funny.
I mean, her like, can we not do the running thing? Like, it's just so like she's so funny, as pregnant Amy. So yeah, I liked it overall. I'm glad we revisited it because I hadn't thought about it in a long time.
Okay, Melanie.
I really liked the beginning of it because at first, the sleepy little village, and okay, we've got pregnant Amy, we've got Rory with the ponytail, and I'm like, okay, when are we? Where are we? I'm kind of confused on what's going on. And then when the doctor lands, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "I crushed the flower." How he crushed your garden, like all the flowers go. I'm like, you know what? The one area that's like the perfect TARDIS shaped square, that all that lawn. Of course, he would land right there.
Of course.
I did like how well I myself was kept guessing of which one was real, which one was fake, and then finding out at the end. Both. But to Mike's point, as much as there's standalone episodes that I adore Amy and I adore Rory, but I've never been one. And oh my Lord, I'm actually going to echo onto like a little bit of Rose and 10 here. I'm not a big relationships person. I don't need that in my, not necessarily, I don't need that always in my entertainment, but I'm glad that this episode happened so that maybe it could just finally be put kind of a wrestle, at least so that the dynamic would make more sense going forward. So that wasn't like this thing that's kind of looming over them at all times. But given how Amy was introduced to the doctor, I think that was going to happen. That's going to keep happening, and that's going to keep showing off that's going to be a thing in Rory's mind, and even the doctor's mind, that she has to choose, which man she's going to be with, and this weird triangle. I'm just like, enough of this, but also, okay, fine. Let's that's what this episode is going to do. Fine, put it to rest, please. But oh yeah, the Dream Lord. That what's his name? Toby
Jones.
Toby Jones.
Oh my! The second I realized that when he comes on screen, and after like the first time I watched this, I didn't really know his body of work yet. I just knew maybe character actor. Watching this again because it's been a while, and realizing that was him, and you're going, now I'm realizing all the immense things that he's been in and all the other stuff that he brings to the table. I'm just like, oh, that's right. I'm in for a treat on this one. Oh yeah, okay, good. And I get to watch more of the nuances, and that of you kind of realizing that who the Dream Lord is, and especially towards the end when they get into that camper and they're looking dead at each other. Just so much is going on between with Matt bringing his A game and Toby bringing his, and all they're doing is just staring at each other, just really like that. So good. But yeah, at first I was kind of like, because I know the first time I watched this, that was my reaction. Is like, okay, here we go, the love triangle again, ish kind of thing. Watching it again was nice because now I got to really focus on Dream Lord and the plot of what was going on, and trying to find all the breadcrumbs, all the escape room kind of things of, okay, which one's the real one, which one's the fake one. I got to enjoy that ride of it. Then the second plot of who's she going to choose.
Yep, I like that. Mary.
I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, I've seen it a few times, and it's interesting. It is one that doesn't get talked about a lot, and you, in some ways, kind of forget about it. But when you go back to it, it's actually a really good episode, especially Tony Jones. That performance, he's amazing. The way he and Matt Smith interact is just, it's like watching a master acting class. It's so much fun.
The disdain
And
between the two of them. It was just amazing.
yes, it's just the electricity between the two of them. It's
Hmm.
makes every scene come alive. And yes, I also am not a big fan of the love triangle. It's I mean, we're barely starting here and it's already old. But I will say that, and actually, when you look back on it, if you had seen this for the first time, it would have been even more jarring because seeing Amy and Rory like that at the very beginning, you're like, what is going on? This is not where we left them.
Because this is
Um,
only Rory's second journey on the TARDIS so far.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, that was good actually, I think, because that just kind of really gets you into the episode going, what is going on here? Something's real is going on. I mean, besides just Rory's stupid hair, which is a big sign that something's going on. But yeah, it's a really fun. I'm sorry that
like
this
the
writer.
ponytail.
Oh
liked
God, it was terrible. I'm sorry this writer didn't do more episodes because this is actually, I think, a really good beginning episode for somebody to write. And he could have come back in the Chibnall era and maybe written a decent episode. Ding.
Subtle, Mary. Subtle.
Very subtle, but very well done.
But seriously, I mean, I would recommend this episode to people. I think it's a lot of fun, and yes, there's a lot of silliness to it. But this episode kind of has everything. It has horror, it has comedy, it has silliness, it has running around, it has personal interaction. I mean, there's a lot of good going on here.
Well, I loved how the Doctor, Amy, and Rory were interacting with each other on so many different levels in the two different worlds, even. And that's what made it awesome, because you had a Rory and an Amy that were more mature, and they had been 5 years without traveling without the Doctor at that point. And when they settled in, what was it, Upper Ledgeworth or
Upper Ledworth, yeah.
Ledworth, yeah.
Upper.
And and so
remember, it's Upper Ledworth.
Upper. Exactly. And I loved how when the Doctor was like, "This town is so boring," and it was just like he was like a little kid, and it's just, and that's what I loved about Matt's Doctor. And and then having all the old people being the alien evil monsters with the eyeball stalks coming out of their mouths and everything. And that was kind of cold what the old people did to the school children. And that was
kind of cold. It was really cold.
That was like dark as hell.
Yeah.
Through that.
That's a dark dream.
Exactly. And it's just like, I would have been like, please let this be the dream. Please let this be the dream, because nobody can be that cruel, type thing. And oh yeah, they are type thing. And it was really well done, and I had fun with this one. Toby Jones is an amazing, amazing actor, and the first time I watched it, I figured out he was part of the Doctor, or he was a Doctor, because the way they interacted with each other was just like how Doctors 3 and 2 interacted with each other in like the 3 Doctors, and then also again in the 5 Doctors. And just how the Doctor just does not like previous incarnations of themselves. And I love how Moffat, or the writer, actually made it that I despise you, you're everything I hate, type thing.
That line that he says, where the Doctor says, "I know who you are," and the Dream Lord's like, "Of course you don't," and he says, "No idea how you can be here, but there's only one person in the universe who hates me as much as you do."
Exactly.
And then when you find out that Dream Lord is the Doctor, and the Doctor knows that there's the one person in the universe that hates him as much as he is himself. Like, he hates himself. It tells you like everything you need to know about the Doctor. I mean, yes, he's goofy.
Much.
He's Matt's Doctor is awkward. He's goofy. He's silly and everything like that. But there's a level to him of guilt and self-hatred that's there that Matt hits on almost in every episode that he's just so good at it. And
very much so. And that's what was so good about the story. And, and then the ice star, type thing. And, the whole TARDIS covered in ice and everything. And then when they figured it out and, they banished the Dream Lord, then they blow up the TARDIS, literally. And that was just like to get them to wake up. And that was just brilliant.
Well, even in this last new watching, I didn't catch it the first time I ever watched it. I didn't catch it the first time I ever watched it, but this time I caught that the Dream Lord, when you finally see him, his last scene on screen, he's wearing Matt's. He's wearing the bow tie. He's wearing the tweed. He's wearing the jacket. He's wearing the doctor's costume.
You see him a couple times wearing it, that outfit.
But I didn't realize at the very end part when it's kind of help tying it again, and then
and the fact that you see his reflection in the TARDIS console
exactly
at the end,
where I was going with that, Mikey.
He's still there.
Exactly.
He like it might he got rid of the little entities and everything, and but
the space
that part of the Doctor,
or whatever it was,
that part of the Doctor is still part of him, and always will be. Will
always be a form of self-loathing. But I think most people have self-loathing some way or another of themselves, but not to this extent that the Doctor does. But he's much older, so it's built up much more.
And they haven't had the power that
I think here he says, I mean, obviously he lies, but here I think he says he's 904. If we take him at his word, that's how old he is in this story anyway. But I will say that also the second time I watched it, or this time when I'm watching it, I kind of was leaning towards the village being the dream, because I wasn't sure how it ended. But I was leaning towards the village being the dream, and I don't know if some part of me remembered watching it and I knew, but obviously when Rory dies, I think this is the first time he dies, right?
He dies. This is the first time he became.
This is the first of
many
deaths, right?
It's a pattern.
Yes,
the first of him becoming the Kenny of
South Park's Kenny, right? Like he's like, "Oh, you killed Rory, you bastard!"
Again,
exactly. But upon his death, Amy realizes how much he means to her. So there's that element that they focus on. But I also felt like, okay, if this was not the dream, then Amy has forgotten all about her child. So I was like, she's willing to take her own life and her child's life to be reunited, quote unquote, with Rory. And I'm like, I think if this was the real world, I don't think Amy would make that choice that easily as she does here. Because she seems to have very little regard for her child, other than the fact that she is sort of saddled with it in this. And so I did feel like that was a key element of it being a dream, because I don't think in quote unquote reality she would really feel that way. And we find out later when she does have a child that she does feel like she is strongly attached to that child. So that to me was a key element watching it this time and seeing that not really play out that way here.
No, agree with that. And it was interesting because, when she even said it when she got in the van and she was driving to the wall, literally, she says, God, I hope this is the dream. Because,
Right. Because she doesn't even mention the child. And the Doctor doesn't either. So the Doctor must kind of figure that this is the dream too. Because the Doctor never at one point says, Amy, what about your child? Like, you're killing your child too. Do you really want to do that? Like, he never brings that up as a factor. So, I think at that point they've both figured out that that's the case, that this is the dream. And I don't know if the Doctor's figured out that the other is a dream too. Because he should be a few steps ahead, and it takes him a little while sometimes to catch up. But so they're focused on obviously this is focused on Amy choosing between Rory and the Doctor, and you know, for all of that. And like I said, that's not my favorite part of this either, but that's what this is about. And I think the only thing that really gives me like that I cringe about when I see this is that Matt's Doctor doesn't seem to dismiss the idea of Amy like being attracted to him as much as I would like him to be.
Yeah, you thought he would learn his lesson with Rose?
Like there shouldn't be a choice. Yeah. Like he should like cut that choice off. Like, you know, from as far as he should not encourage that choice from Amy. And yet sometimes he seems kind of sad that Amy is choosing Rory at times. And I don't love that decision.
No,
because you would have thought he learned it from Rose, but then also Martha.
Yes.
I don't think Matt Smith's Doctor has any interest in Amy in that way.
No, he doesn't.
Now,
but he likes the attention.
He does like the attention, and he might not like Rory. He might not appreciate Rory so much, and maybe
I
it is
really get the feeling that he doesn't like Rory.
Yeah, I mean, he traditionally doesn't like companions, others. Like he does. He usually does. He usually chooses a companion, but whether it's family or spouses or partners or whatever, he's usually not a fan of bringing them along too.
No, because if you remember, he didn't want to bring Jackie along any of the times.
Well, we can't blame him for that, actually.
Yeah, I could say I could understand
into
that
another
one.
world.
And I certainly understand why he didn't want to have anything to do with having Mickey on board.
No.
Oh God, yeah.
Don't go there. But anyway,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, but it's interesting because you know this was all taken right before Amy and Rory's wedding. Like this was the night before the wedding that they went off, and he literally took Rory from the bachelor party. So it was just interesting timing with this and everything. But I loved the interaction between Rory and the Doctor, and and I love how in the dream Rory became a doctor. He actually became Dr. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was pretty awesome. And I like how he was like, she's having, Amy, all the fake contractions, or the false contractions, I should say. And she's like, ow, screaming at the top of her. And everyone's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Oh, I'm fine. False alarm,
I think this also is one of the first major illustrations, and we'll see this going forward. It actually defines Rory as he is willing to sacrifice everything for Amy, because here he has dreams of being a doctor in a quiet village, having kids, going to see boring musicals, community musicals or whatever, hanging out with old people. That's what his dream is, even though this is not his dream per se. It's all their dreams, but this is something that he is very much wanting to do. And this is not Amy's dream, but he is willing to give up his dreams. And in this, he's willing to give up his life for Amy. And of course, we'll see that continue. He is willing to sacrifice himself time and time and time and time and time again for her.
Mm-hmm. Hell, he sacrifices his life at least almost half a dozen times in the series for her.
At some point, Moffat had to tell Darvill, look, every time you read a script and you see he's dead, don't freak out. You're safe. Just keep reading.
Mm-hmm. Don't mind us. We're just going to give you this parka that covers your whole head, and you barely understand what you're saying anymore. So it'll be fun. But yeah, it was a great story, and there was parts of me where like, God, I hope the 5 years later would actually be real, because it was pretty idyllic living in that town. And they had a really good life. Well, for Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Amy felt the same way, but
Yeah, she was in full on. This is a nightmare,
Yeah.
or at least not what she wanted.
Not what she wanted. I don't think she ever said it was a nightmare, but it was.
Matt's doctor.
Matt Smith that it was a nightmare,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like
And she didn't wholeheartedly disagree on that.
no. So it was interesting with that, and I just thought it was great to see, and I loved like a cold star. There's no such thing as a cold star, Doctor. Don't you know that? And it's like, how am I supposed to know everything? I thought he was the person who knows everything. He's the man in the room who knows every single thing. So, and
that's why he threw the TARDIS manual into a supernova.
I love that. I love that. That was just awesome. But yeah, it was fun, and I would love to see the Dream Lord come back. I think that would be pretty darn awesome. Because that was a villain who, it's the Doctor. It's just the Doctor's dark side. And, kind of like the V word, which we're not mentioning.
I will tell you, if they ever decide to do a V word story, ever, they better call Toby Jones first. Because that will make it, then I will be excited. then I will be like, okay. I'm keen to see this play out, because I do think that would add an element of fun to it. And Toby gets it, Some actors come on Doctor Who, they don't know how to play it. It can be, kind of a challenge, but Toby gets it, and it would be great to see him return at some point in Doctor Who in some way, because he knows how to play this.
I don't disagree with you at all on that one. I think he would be fantastic in that role. So, because the original actor who is playing the V word is sadly passed. So, but hopefully we never get the V word. So there we go.
We've been putting a pause on it for a long time.
And we shall continue to do that. So there you go.
We shall see.
We shall see. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one? Okay.
I like this era.
Well, this era was
great season.
Oh God, and especially knowing the episodes that are coming up after this one. Because you have the Solarian 2-parter, and then you have Vincent and the Doctor after that, and then you have the Pandorica story after that. So it's just like bam, bam. It's just awesome stuff. This Matt's first season was just amazing, and that's almost like a gold standard for that. And so. All right. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Melanie, I'm going to let you go first this time.
Definitely want to give it a solid 4. I might even give it a 4.25, but only because for me, the triangle and all that kind of stuff, not my cup of tea, but it had to be addressed and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'll go 4.25. Because it was still brilliantly acted from all of the members of the cast. Brilliant. The pacing of it was phenomenal. I didn't feel like there was any real slow parts in this. It was actually kind of more up, higher, kept going. The production value was amazing, that they weren't just like a little bottle episode. They were clearly in a little village for their exterior stuff. The costume design was absolutely phenomenal. For the Dream Lord, because he just had how many things that he was wearing, even everything from like the butcher shop, or even when he was kind of when he jumped into the car with the Doctor to go get Amy and Rory, he's wearing like this little kind of driver suit with the helmet in the background, so that I thought that was fun. So yeah, I'll give it a straight 4.25, because it's a really good episode.
I loved it when they were in the butcher shop and he looked at the Doctor. I bet you're a vegetarian.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, Mikey.
I'm going to give it a solid 4. I think that is a great read. Oh, great watch. I think it's well produced, as Mel said, well acted, well edited. I'll even say well directed. There's that wonderful shot where the camera's just spinning around the three of them as they're,
Hmm.
saying their lines. It's well choreographed with the camera moving with each character talking. It's a beautiful synergy. I love it when the camera and the actors sort of do this dance. It's always fun when that happens, and it works here because it puts you on edge. It's exactly what you need to do right at the beginning of this story, and the acting's great too. It's not an episode that I can say, if you're new to Who, start with this one because it's not that kind of standalone episode, but it doesn't have a lot of other baggage to it as far as some of the other storylines that were going on. But it does have this whole Amy has to choose, and we have to resolve that situation here. So, but other than that, it's a solid 4. It's a great watch. I'm glad we got the chance to watch it again because, like I said, it's one that I kind of just forgot about, and it was nice to revisit it.
Awesome. 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 Mary.
I'm going to give it a 4.5. I really like this episode. The one thing I'll say about the triangle is I think it's okay to explore things like this. I mean, people of that age are being pulled in all these different directions, and you're trying to decide which way you want your life to go. And, you've got the people telling you to settle down and the people telling you to live your dreams. And, it's very hard to decide what to do. I totally understand that. What I am very tired of seeing is that when you're portraying that with a woman, it has to center around a man. No, it really doesn't. She can be going through all those emotions, trying to figure her life out without it being about choosing between two men. I think that's cheap and lazy. And I'm sorry they went there. I'm not surprised. But putting that, and I will say that Karen is, I think, aware of that and trying to rise above it. And
I think so too, because
she's.
I don't think you're right. I don't think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think I just want to back you up there because I don't think Karen does that with this role. I think the script does, but I don't think she does.
I agree. I think she is trying very hard to break out of the box she's been put in, and I commend her for that. And I think Karen was underrated as an actress on this series. I think she was really good. Her interactions with Matt Smith were good. It was really fun watching her grow as an actress and during the course of the series because she was really young. She and Matt Smith both when they started. So yeah, and I think it's well worth, despite its flaws, it is well worth watching. And no, I wouldn't recommend it as a first one either. But if you've watched Who for a while, then I think you should definitely watch this one, and I think you'll enjoy it.
I agree. No, I completely agree with that one. It was interesting for me. I'm going to give a 4.5 also. I was almost considering a 5. What pulled it down was the love triangle. I could have done without it. And, it should have ended when, Amy went to go snog the doctor. And it was at the end of the Angels episode, and they went to go get Rory and blah, blah, blah. And it should have just ended there. I think it was unnecessary. And I felt bad for Rory, because, making himself doubt himself, even all the way into the next season, the whole thing about the baby and everything. And, it's just like, you married her, you have her, you have, at this point, not yet, but it's coming. And so, but these were just a series of great, great episodes. I don't think there really was a weak episode this season. And, not like the Chibnall era, which there was a ton of those. And so, I just think it was just fun being able to get that. And I was happy to see that. And anytime they want to bring back Toby Jones, hell yes. Heck yeah. And he, like I said, keep on saying, he is literally great in whatever he does. So please, let's don't let this one just hang out there. I want to see that character back or him playing something else on Doctor Who. Hell, put him as the next Doctor. That would be pretty amazing. But then people complain, oh, he's white, he's too short, he's not attractive, he's not David Tennant, blah 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 blah. So that's our bitching for the night, folks. It's cool. So we definitely would love to hear from you guys. If you made it this far into the episode, please leave us feedback. We would love it. Feedback at earthstationwho.com. If you want, please take 2 seconds. Hit the like button. Hit the stars if you're listening to us. Give us a thumbs up. Like and subscribe, as we like to say. Please, it would be great if you guys could do that. And, we're growing. Our numbers are going up there. And so let's continue. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. If you saw the postcard at the Who store, if you saw us at Pensacon, hell, if you saw our names up on the men's bathroom, please definitely check us out. We definitely appreciate you no matter what. So, it's a good thing. So definitely let's thank our regulars for being here. Mr. Mike Gordon, appreciate you, my man. And thank you for being here.
As always, it's my pleasure.
And you want to promote your shows?
Sure. I mean, you can find me on the Dragon Con Report. We're getting ready to record our 3rd episode of the year. This new season.
3rd one already. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It goes by fast. So, and Dragon Con will be here before you know it. So we are going to be recording our next one this coming week, and it's all about having kids at Dragon Con, not making kids at Dragon Con, but bringing kids to Dragon Con.
Giving birth at Dragon Con.
Yeah, no.
There's people who became grandparents at Dragon Con.
Not about conceiving children at Dragon Con, but bringing them and what there is to do, what options there are to do. Because Dragon Con has a reputation for a long time as being not kid friendly, but it has changed, and we are going to explore that.
Awesome. And Ms. Melanie Dean, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I always love being here.
How can people find your artwork?
Well, you can find me right now on Instagram at either my personal channel, which is Pieces of Melee, or my work channel, which is the stained glass and all that fun stuff, and that is diamondtechcrafts.com or Diamond Tech Crafts.
Awesome. And Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you as always.
Thank you. Always great to talk to you guys. And
you want to promote your stuff?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. As we said, Doctor Who is right around the corner. And you know what? You could find Mike Gordon and myself in just a couple weeks. We're going to be at South Carolina Comic-Con.
That we will.
One of our favorite shows of the year, and located in the beautiful city of Greenville, South Carolina. We will be it's no longer the TD Convention Center. I think it's just the Greenville Convention Center. And we'll be there Saturday and Sunday, and we'll each have our own table, and we'll have stuff, and we'll be able to pick up the new ESW postcards and get to preview the new Earth Station Who banner that we just created. Pretty cool stuff. And just come by. We could talk all things Doctor Who. And anyone who comes up and says you listen to the podcast, you're going to get a special gift. So, we'll have to see. And no, it's not a Funko Pop. It's cool stuff. So
trying to get rid of them.
I'm trying to get rid of them. Here, you can have one. So, but yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. And it's always great things. You can find me producing my other podcasts. We are doing, of course, Tales from Hollywoodland. This last week, we just put out our James Bond episode. We talk about the history of Bond and the future of Bond, what's going to be happening with it. And also over on Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk, this week we have Jane Alexander, and next week we have Chris Sarandon coming on the show. So it's pretty cool interviews, and it's always fun just meeting these people and also get to hear their life stories. So check it out. You can find each one. Tales from Hollywoodland is talesfromhollywoodland.com, and Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk can be found under the website of the same name. So definitely check it out. till next week, we will be back. We have one more episode before the new season, folks. So till then,
wow.
Thank you
That's
very much.
amazing.
I know. When I said it, I was just freaking myself out right there. So it's kind of cool stuff. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. And on behalf of my crew here, thank you. And I survived the geek seats and I got new rope marks. It's awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. And we are done.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.